So I'm going to show you the planer, and we use a couple of bars to brace, to lay the foundation, the frame, excuse me, to lay the frame horizontally, and I'll show you that. So we'll set these up.
Okay.
But while I'm looking at your box, so you're running 8 frame hives.
Correct.
And you're running 8 frames.
8 frames.
And
not all 8 are full, so I brought everything.
right. Well, so let me say at this point, and hopefully you'll remember this because a lot of people don't. I know this is weird that, we sell you 8 frames, but then we're going to tell you really should run 7.
Oh.
But here's the reason why. So when these are frames with these end ears, I'm going to call it an ear, they're designed so that when you're pushing them together, you're training the bees to draw the comb only to the width of the frame. That's the purpose of the design. That is what you want in the brood boxes, so that when you take a frame out, you're not ripping or rubbing bees. Inspect, put it back with little to no damage. However, in honey supers, we actually recommend that you start on day 1 with 7
Okay.
in an 8 frame or 9 in a 10 frame. It's called -1. There's actually spacing tools that we sell that are like fingers down here that you use to space them out. And the logic to that is when you space them out, the bees will draw them fat or thick to get to bee space, and it gives you something to cut away.
Okay.
So every year when you go to harvest
That
and
makes
you
sense.
remove that cappings, you're taking it back down to the width of the frame. Now the nice thing about the planer is for your areas that are concave, the planer will get to that because it's
Okay.
only that wide.
Right.
The knives, which are longer than this, unless they're really flexible, they won't reach this, but the
Okay.
planer will. So the planer's going to be good for your frames, but I'm just taking the opportunity to say to you, when you get home, I would do this before I even put this stuff away. When you get home, take one of these frames out and just set it aside,
Okay.
so that in the spring, when you get that out,
I remember,
and
yeah.
you see that gap, you're going to go, oh yeah, now I remember the conversation I had about
Right.
running a -1.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's set the braces in. This is my favorite uncapping tub ever because, I guess they could have made it perfectly wide enough for a frame. I'm not sure why they didn't do that, but anyway, it's flexible for this. And we just kind of set the frames in here. Come on. So this is the position that I'm comfortable with, pretty much, not perfectly. But you can certainly adjust this because you're taller, your arms are longer, this might be too close. But I like to have room to set some frames
Okay.
here. So I'm going to let me just grab a couple. So you talked to Scott about it not being completely capped, and you took a reading on the moisture, right?
He took just a calibration. We haven't
yep.
taken the reading yet from the
Oh, okay.
frames.
Okay.
Yeah, he calibrated my device.
Are you left-handed or right?
I'm left-handed.
Okay, so let's get the left-handed. Okay, so this is called a planer. It's going to take us a moment to get it warmed up, but we'll take a reading on your honey. So generally speaking, you want to extract frames that are 70% or better capped.
Okay.
Okay, the bees cap it when they perceive the moisture level to be correct, and we trust that they know what they're doing, right? So they should be capping it around 17, 18. If we have dry weather, that will continue to reduce the moisture because this is porous.
Okay.
However, if we have a lot of rain right before you pull these to extract, honey is hygroscopic, so it will actually absorb moisture. So we've had people in here with capped honey, and it's wet.
Wet, yeah.
Now, that being said, with the amount of honey that you have, I mean, it doesn't ferment right away. It would be months. I would say it would be January 2025 before I would start worrying about my honey starting to ferment. For what you have, if you bottle it and give it away and it's consumed by Christmas, I wouldn't even worry about it. Right? So I would do, since you've got it here, even if it's 18 and a half, 19, it's supposed to be below
18,
18
right?
and a half.
18 and a half,
Yeah.
okay.
Most beekeepers are really happy with 17 because it feels right. It feels thick. Even at 18, it can be a little runny.
Okay.
You know, I've had honey that reads fine, but it just feels thin, right? So in the 17s, good moisture level, way away, far enough away that you're not going to have any issues. You know, when it separates, when honey crystallizes, the stuff that becomes crystallized is actually shedding moisture up into the area that's liquid. And so you can, if you're at 18 and your honey crystallizes and sheds moisture, then that part at the top could ferment if that moisture gets up above 18.5. So 17 is, you're really away from that possibility, and it feels nice and thick like it should. All right, we're going to use your refractometer.